তাদের চরণ সেবি ভক্ত শুনিবা তাদের চরণ সেবি ভক্ত শুনিবা জনমে জনমে মা এই অভিলা জনমে জনমে মা
Welcome to ISKCON of Silicon Valley. Thank you very much for coming to our Sunday afternoon program in the live studio audience. And also, thanks for joining us online from various places around the world. We really appreciate it. And today, we are just coasting into the last part of the year. We had quite a year, haven't we, so far? I mean, so far, the best is yet to come, I think. Hare Krishna. Welcome back. And we finished Kartik. Kartik was a month of extra effort in the practice of devotional service. Did you all feel like that? It's nice to have permission to do more, isn't it? And we've had several festivals during the year. Can anybody remember any of them? I remember Janmashtami. You remember that? And Radhashtami. I remember looking forward to Janmashtami, and I always do, and I'm never disappointed. I remember pardon? And Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja. This comes the very next day. That one we can forget about. So there's, if we think back, we actually live a fairly full life. And a lifetime of contribution to Krishna consciousness is significant. There's a verse in the Sri Upanishad, number 17, which is like a plaintive prayer. Well, at the time that one's leaving this present body, something generally most people don't look forward to. So we kind of get settled in. Once you finish kindergarten, first grade, get into the social scene, you don't really want to give up your body. It's just kind of natural. And after a lifetime of practicing devotional service, the prayer at number 17 says that, please, the person who's praying says, please remember whatever I've done in this lifetime. It's nice if we remember sometimes too. It says, oftentimes when we're looking ahead and we think, oh, I have so much to do. Do you ever feel like that? Like always. And it's helpful to look back and say, here's what I've done. Even in one day. We can even take for granted, especially those who are on a spiritual schedule. Let's take that aspect of our lives. There are certain things that we do that now we consider to be obligatory. Do you feel like that? There are certain vows we've taken, so we just every day do them. And we might feel later that in the day, for instance, that, well, I really haven't done anything. But if you go back and think, look, you've done all your things. And I remember once when some devotees were asking Prabhupada is our founder Acharya, sitting on this ornate seat called the Vyasasana, a representative of the line of teachers who have passed down the message of Bhagavad Gita and other very important Vedic literatures, that should we fast today? It was a day they were getting initiated, so should we fast? And Prabhupada said, you're already fasting. So you don't eat meat, fish, eggs. But to many people, it's like, how could you make such a sacrifice? They told about Srila Bhakti, and during Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's time, that's Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master's time, some devotees were sent to England to start the Krishna consciousness movement there. And there was a lord who was very interested in the Krishna consciousness. And he had studied Indian culture. There was this interesting relationship between England and India. We won't go into it. But he was sort of an Indologist, and he was interested in Indian culture and what's not to be attracted to. It's an amazing culture. So he asked them as he was coming regularly, could you make me a Brahmin? And the devotees there told him, yes, all you have to do is these several things. And it had to do with giving up eating meat and several other things. And then he said, impossible. Impossible. So it's a feat unto itself that one's able to live a life which is dignified by living within the boundaries of the suggestions given in these high-minded literatures by high-minded teachers. Even if one's not perfect at it, Krishna is so liberal. In the Bhagavad Gita, he says, api chet sudaracharo, which means that, okay, so you're trying, right? But even if sometimes you're not able to fully follow the process, even sometimes you do something that's really strange. He said, api chet sudaracharo bhajade mamananya bhak, sadhur, that you should consider that person a worthy person spiritually. You shouldn't disparage such a person if they're trying, because it's not so easy. One of the ways that we feel pressure oftentimes, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a way in which when we know what to do, but it seems a little difficult to do the right thing. Does that resonate? I hope so. Or I'll feel isolated up here. Yeah, we know what to do. We know what the right thing is. We know what we'd like to do. In fact, it goes to also what our human potential is. There's a way in which we have so many aspirations, things that we'd like to perfect, that we'd like to do. Sometimes it seems that we're not able to take the time to do them. And then we just kind of move on with our lives. Have you ever had that experience? Yeah. So there are many conundrums we can have in life about not doing enough, not being good enough, not looking right, whatever it may be. It's sort of the human experience, because there's a dichotomy between our real self and the temporary self that or role that we've taken on as a certain kind of human, the kinds of designations that we accept. In fact, sociologists, not even looking at the spiritual side, talk about a human being's entry into the world as a series of role acceptance. We accept a role as a little baby, although maybe not really consciously, but you just kind of slide into that role. It's nature's way. And then as we grow up and become more cognizant of imitating other people, we find our place in the family. Are you the youngest? Are you the middle or the oldest? and so forth. And when you go to school, there are the roles you have to play, and so forth. And according to the Bhagavad Gita, these roles are all temporary roles. They're not our ultimate role. And interestingly, we do have a role. And coming to that, that's a place of stability. In fact, in the extensive teachings on Bhakti Yoga, one of the most interesting and edifying of sections is when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Krishna himself, who appeared 500 years ago to represent the Bhagavad Gita in a way that people could take it up more readily, met with a very qualified person, Srila Sanatan Goswami, who was a highly placed government officer and very wealthy, like a prime minister. His brother was a minister of finance. And they both were indispensable in the government. But when they saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was a monk without any money, and he had thousands of people with him, they would just be attracted to him. They'd come from everywhere when they'd hear about him. These people live humdrum lives. No matter where they are, they feel, isn't there more than this? Can I see somebody who will really excite me, bring me to another level? So when people heard about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they came from long ways away just to see him, spared no expense or trouble to get there, and then he would hold festivals where he would chant, and thousands of people would chant with him. And he would also hold forth in public sometimes, and people would get to see him. And so Sanatan and his brother, at that time they were named Sakar Malik and Kabir. As they called him Kabir for short. And Sakar Malik. They went there to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but is it stuffy in here? Come on, do we have to have stuff? Turn up those filters high to as high as they go. Make sure they're plugged in too. And then get a cross ventilation. It's one of the great secrets of life is air. It nourishes all the cells in the body and especially the brain. Did you know that? Yeah, so air coming through, filters up high. So they had to sneak away because they were government officers. They had a special role in the society there. They weren't even very comfortable with their role, because they had come from a different culture altogether. They had come from a Hindu culture, Brahminical culture, very respectable in India, according to the sociology of the time, and the social structure of the time, I should say. And then there's a way that they got, due to the way that the confluence of the different cultures, they got caught up in the government work, which was working with another culture altogether, which was considered, it was a Muslim government at the time. And their own kith and kin and society had rejected them because they said, oh, now you guys are nothing to us. How do you like that? Nobody likes that very much, right? And so they had embraced their lifestyle and their professional life and taken on even, the external trappings of that culture. And there they are, sneaking off to go see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there's this sort of cognitive dissonance. Like, which culture are we from? Here's our livelihood, we work here, but we're attracted here. We come from there, we're rejected from there. How will we be accepted And when they went to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, as I've described before, this is something to be looked into. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is seen by different scholars and historians in different ways, but according to the great teachers of bhakti, he was Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there's a lot of reasons that they say that. It's not just willy-nilly. They make these things up and just say, oh, here's another incarnation. But there's a schedule that Krishna keeps when he appears in the world to do his work. And he says as much in the Bhagavad Gita, yada yada hi dharmasya galanir bhavati bharata, means that he comes on a regular basis to the world. So according to the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam and elsewhere, Krishna Varnam Tvasha Krishnam, when he comes in the Kali Yuga, he comes in a special color. Asan Varna Trayo Yasya Grinato Nu Yugam Tanum Shuklo Raktas Tatapita Idanim Krishnatam Gataha. Means, Gargamuni said it on Krishna's birth. He said, this little boy, he's not ordinary. He comes in many different times and places, and sometimes he's greenish like a parrot. Who's that? For 50 points each. Then sometimes he comes in a whitish complexion, Kapila maybe, and then you have yellowish. So Lord Chaitanya, and in the Kali Yuga, there's, as is mentioned in the ancient scriptures, God comes at the Kali Yuga time specifically to teach how to cross over this age of distraction. But in this yuga, this particular yuga, although sometimes he sends a representative, a living entity, and empowers the living entity to teach it, he comes himself specifically for various numbers of reasons. But he's called the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, and he's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu acting as a devotee of Krishna. So that's interesting. And it's, in and of itself, it's helpful because we need someone we can relate to for access into the process. So when Krishna comes himself and he says, okay, I'll show you what I meant in the Bhagavad Gita. Here's how to live it. That's the idea behind Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when they went to meet him, he was immediately accommodating. He recognized them. That's why I was coming to that point. He recognized them right away, not as outsiders, but his mood was, I've known you forever. You're with me. That's heartening, isn't it? When you sneak out, you go to see, and then it's like, oh yeah, you're one of mine. And their hearts melted when they met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at that time. And he immediately brought them into his group. He initiated them on that first meeting. He gave them the names Sanatan and Rupa Goswami. And then they went back, and you can imagine after having such an experience, after they had such an experience that their mind wasn't really on their work at all. Have you ever had that happen? You have such a heightened experience. You're laughing, smiling, yeah, like all the time. There's a way you might go to a festival or a seminar where suddenly your mind is changed and you're looking in a different direction, and then you go back to your regular life and you go, oh, what is this? These people don't know anything. You're in a heightened state. And when they went back, they felt like that. And they had this determination in their heart, even though they were still employed. They thought, it's over. They knew it was over. That is, their worldly pursuits and their holding up their roles in the government and so forth, they just said it's over. But it's not so easy to just drop things. That's another lesson from this. Rupa Goswami took a whole year to wind up his employment. Of course, here in Silicon Valley, you can walk in and they'll just say, you got to go. You got 5 minutes and here's your box and you're out. They kind of help us along a little bit. They were really important. They were pillars of the government. So Rupa, he scaled down, and Sanatan, after his brother really went first, was the last person holding things together. And the king at the time really depended on him. So when he found out that Sanatan was calling in sick, he was a little worried. And as I've mentioned before, he started that phenomena. I've seen it here a couple times. Festival comes up. Yeah, I'm not feeling too well. So he sent a doctor. After about 10 days, Sanatan didn't come in. And the doctor stopped by Sanatan's house and checked out to see how he was. And Sanatan had 12 learned scholars of the Bhagavatam. His Bhagavatam was known very well by those who were high-minded spiritualists at the time. So he had Sanskritists and those who had studied the Bhagavatam deeply staying at his house. He lived in a palace. He was a billionaire. And he was just reading Bhagavatam with them and discussing it. And that was all day long. That's what he was doing. That was his sickness. So the doctor looked at the scene. He went back to the king and he said, he's not sick. He's probably sick of you, but he's not sick. And so the king himself came. That's how important Sanatan was. And the king came in and said, I can't run this place without you. I've got places to go, and I don't know how to run it anyway. And you're the only one I trust. You're the person holding this up. And your brother, he already just walked out on me. So you're not leaving. You can't leave. And Sanatan said, I've already made up my mind. That's an important aspect of making up one's mind. Once you've got the internal determination, no matter what your external circumstances are, and no matter how long it takes you to get to the place that you want to be, when you've made that decision in your heart, nobody can stop you. Because everything we do really is based on our own desire. Sometimes people say, oh, I don't have time to chant Hare Krishna. But we should make a note that it's not time, it's taste. Because really we do as we wish, ultimately. And if I really want to do something, then ultimately I'll find out a way to do it. That's how living entities roll in this world. They figure out one way or another. Doesn't matter if they're in prison, if they like alcohol, they'll figure out how to take their juice box and put a little yeast in it, hide it in the corner, and get some alcohol out of it. I mean, living entities do what they like, ultimately. And as Cyndi Lauper said back in the 80s, living entities just want to have fun. Anandamaya Vyasat. It's the nature of the soul to want to enjoy. So we seek enjoyment according to our conditioning. And when we get knowledge and good association, then we can upgrade our conception of happiness. And Sanatan then was faced with this prospect that his employer said that you either work or you go to jail. So what do you think he said? He took to jail? And it comes off our tongue easily, right? Because you know the story. But what if somebody said that to you? Like sometimes, we think about history sometimes. Somebody hiding, a saint in their house that's being pursued by scoundrels, and if the person is found, not only will they kill the person, but the family that's hiding him, and then someone might say, well, of course I'd hide them. And it's like, really? Would you do that? Would you really do that? Would your moral standard be so high that you would risk your life for another human being? And it comes to, in this story, and then that, although it sounds just like a story of what's the big deal of going to jail, but it brings us to this point. How much do we really want to? advance spiritually? How much do we want Krishna? And that's a question that only we can answer. And when we do answer it ourselves, and when we have that sense of determination in our heart that I've already decided, then our whole world changes. Everything changes from the inside, then it goes outside. Everything manifests around us according to what our internal state is. So Sanatan was put in jail, but because he and his brother were extremely intelligent, they had planned ahead of time for such a contingency, and they had put aside enough money, gold actually, to bribe his way out, Sanatan's way out of the prison, and he escaped and he went and joined Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who then gave him his teachings. And in his teachings, going back to roles, he met with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he asked him a very simple question. You might think, such a learned scholar who knew 7 languages and who had studied the Bhagavatam most of his life, and he meets Krishna himself in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who wants to teach him everything. What kind of question might he ask? And he asked the most basic of questions. Who am I? Who would think to ask that? Who am I? People say that I'm a learned scholar, and I'm so foolish that I accept that. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him what's foundational for all of us, and he said, what you are is an eternal servant of Krishna. Eternal is important because we never die. And servant is important because when I decide to serve, and not just serve anyone, because we're always serving, that's our constitutional position, but to serve Krishna, then we become aligned in such a way that our life becomes productive. And therefore in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, as a preliminary for anyone, anywhere, doing anything, yet koroshi yat ashnashi yat juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi konteya tat kurushva manarpanam, which means whatever you're doing, do it for me. Learn how to connect it to me. You don't have to stop doing anything that you're doing now. Just learn how to connect it to Krishna. And if you can do that, he said, then everything you're doing will have deep meaning. And you'll be gaining spiritual assets. And then when it comes to the end of life, which will come, and we say, oh, I'd like to offer you this lifetime, everything that I've done. It would be nice to have a decent portfolio, wouldn't it? Here's my portfolio. What have you done? We don't even remember all the things we've done. If we're engaged in the association of devotees, for instance, the kind of society that Srila Prabhupada started, ISKCON, International Site for Krishna Consciousness, if you just get engaged in the basic activities, which are hearing, chanting, taking prasadam, following a few very commonsensical rules like don't drink something that you can ignite with a match, don't try to kill yourself, don't drive impaired or live impaired life, and so forth, and don't get entangled in superficial relationships. Make sure they're meaningful. If you're going to be with somebody, really decide why you're doing it and make sure that it's for a really high cause. These are human ideals every human should follow to be happy. And if you just do the basics, then at the end of life you'll have such an amazing portfolio. And if you do anything after that, you do something that's for you heroic, like pick yourself up out of the doldrums and say, despite the fact that I'm inept in every possible way, I'm still going to try to do some service. And you try to do something to help others, especially to help others. That's the highest kind of service, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. If you use your life for helping others to become connected with Krishna, reconnected, especially knowing the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita so they can help themselves, he said, then you're the most dear to me. Boy, what do you have to offer then when you depart this body? And so it's a encouraging prospect. Number one, Krishna's so liberal. He's not a religious fanatic. He's not saying, if you don't do this, you're gone forever. You might as well forget it. If you made a theological error, walked into the wrong church, then you're just out. For how long? Ever. No, Krishna's explaining how the universe works, how you work in the universe so that you can elevate yourself up or down, and then he gives categorical knowledge about how the material world is inconvenient. That's sort of a euphemism. The material world's inconvenient. So he tells how we can feel natural happiness from within. And these things can be tried. They're very practical. They can be integrated into our lifestyle. Yat koroshi, yat ashnashi, yat juhoshi, yat darasiyat, yat tapasyasi konteya, tat kurushva manarpanam. Anything that you do, anything that you eat. If you're going to make a sacrifice, like you're going to fast, don't do it just to lose weight. Or do a cleanse. Do it for Krishna. We have enough spiritual days on the Vaishnava calendar. We'll go toe-to-toe with any other religious group in the world. We have more holy days than anybody. And if you want to fast on all of those, feel free. But do it for Krishna. Or not. I mean, you can take prasadam for Krishna too. That's also kind of fasting. And if you're working, don't just keep it all. Don't be a hog. Don't be a ball hog. Nobody likes a ball hog, right? Where's Bharat? He's a basketball player. Nobody likes a ball hog, right? Yeah, a guy just dribbles it down. Everyone's going, pass it, pass it, pass it. And he's like, no, bang, against the backboard. No, don't just hog the ball. If you're doing some work and you're getting something, give it to Krishna. Keep as much as you need to live a stable life. Make sure your bills are all covered. Make sure you have enough for emergencies. But then put the rest, let the rest go out. And do good for the world. Print books. Send them all over the world. Get people set up in knowledge. Try to make the world a better place. Do some service. So Krishna says you can go on with your work. You're going to work anyway. So whatever you're doing, just connect it to me. So we've had this homework assignment in 2 places so far. Would you like a little homework? Yes. Okay, so here's your homework. Get a legal pad and a pen. Are you with me so far? Yes. What's the first part? Are you going to do it? Yes. I'm not convinced. Yes. All right. Okay, so sit down and write at the top, things I do. You got that so far? That's 3 words only. It's not so hard. Things I do. And then you'll make a list on the left-hand side. Leave a little space on the right. Make a list on the left-hand side of all the things I do. So let's name 10 things that you all do. Eat. Sleep. What? Work. Okay, that's it, actually. No. Drive. Shower. Cook. Read. Sing. Fight. What? Walk the dog? Okay, I didn't get that one. Speak. Okay, that's 10. If you go on with the list and you think of all the things you do, you're going to come into the thousands. Okay, so that's your first. What's the first part? Get a legal pad and a pen. You're going to do it? I'm not convinced. Okay, so then you write at the top. What do you write at the top? Things I do. And then on the left-hand side, what are you going to put? What are you going to write? As many things as you can think of. That's why it's a legal pad. You can turn the page, go down the other side. Okay, next is on the right-hand side, you can write Krishna, K-R-S-N-A, or K-R-I-S-H-N-A. Or you can get a picture of Krishna and paste it on that side of the page. Okay? Good so far? Then go with your pen, and from each item that you do, make a line from there and connect it to Krishna. And think about it. How can we connect to Krishna? Like, what things do you mention? Who said drive? You said drive. So what could you do to connect your drive to Krishna? You listen. Yeah. The reason I keep my car, it's a 2004. I like old cars. It's not that old, but it's got a tape player in it. That's why I keep it. I mean, plus I got to get here. But it's got a tape player in it. And I have so many tapes from the old days. Kids, there used to be a thing called tapes. I don't want to freak anybody out, but there was a different technology back then. I have cases of things. Devotees went to so much trouble, pre-software, to put together these analog versions of Krishna consciousness. There's so many recordings. And I just pop it in my tape player. It's also got, wait for it, a CD player. Do you have a CD player? Oh, yeah? Okay, that's still happening. So then I have a tape player, a CD player, and I could just put a CD or a tape in my car, and it's one of the nicest times just to listen. You can listen to Bhagavatam. You can listen to a lecture. You can listen to Kirtan. And while everyone else is toiling in traffic, you can feel, oh, I'm enriching myself, right? So that's one. You take drive, and then what's another aspect of drive where you could connect it to Krishna? You can drive to the temple. That's a classic, because in the Bhagavatam, talking about Ambarish Maharaj, he talks about how he used all the senses. So there's working senses. Here's 4 of them right here, or two sets. And you can use those. Ambarish Maharaj was noted for using all his senses. And he used his legs for walking to the temple. So you can use your car too. Yeah. So that's connected. If it's connected, you're good. You got Kodashe Dashashi. And then how about, let's pick another one, eating. What would you do for that? Yeah, you'd offer it to Krishna, right? Instead of just eating like a pig, here, let's slop the hogs. You just throw it in there. Come on in, hogs. And they just, don't be a pig. Rishabhadev says that. It's not me. I'm not making this stuff up. He says, Nayam deho bhajam riloke, kashtan kama marhate vidbujam ye, tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shud yet yasmad brahma saukyam tonantam. He said, don't be a pig. And he said more than that. So it's a very high-minded activity to cook for God. This is a concept that's not widespread. It's not widespread. There are thousands, tens of thousands of restaurants in the Bay Area. And nobody's thinking, let me offer it to God first. They're thinking profit, oh, how much am I going to make per plate? Or if somebody's cooking for themselves, like, oh, do you like this? Do you like that? But devotees have a different way of thinking. How do they do it? They think, I'm cooking this for Krishna. He has perfect senses, and I'm going to offer it to him. And if you offer with love, then Krishna will accept it. He says it in Bhagavad Gita, Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya priyachati taraham bhakti paritam ashnami paritatmanaha. If you make me something, or you pick something from a tree that you grew or that you got from your neighbor's yard, and you make it nice and you offer it to me out of devotion, he said, I'll accept it. And that's a very deep relationship, to give somebody some food and they accept it. And that's the concept. You can make another line, right? Isn't it getting exciting? You have all these things over here just floating around that are causing us karma and causing us to take birth again in the material world because we have to pay a debt for them. But when you connect it to Krishna, Krishna says, Yat karoshi, yat ashnashi, yat juhoshi, dadasiyat, yat tapasyasi, konteyat, tat kurishva mararpanam. Wherever you drive, whatever you eat, you just connect it to me. And if you go down that list and you connect everything, then your life will become transcendental. And if you find something that you can't draw a line from this place to that, then just erase it or cross it out. Say, I'm not going to do that one now because I can't connect it to Krishna. So these teachings of Krishna consciousness are very practical. Bhakti yoga is not inaccessible. It's absolutely accessible to everyone. It's not changing anything except for our intention. And that means that whatever we're doing, we consider how it connects to Krishna first. And when we do that, and there are practical ways to learn how to do that if we're not sure exactly how to connect it, then our lives will become productive and spiritually charged, and we'll feel the potential of our lives be augmented. That was weird. We'll feel enlivened to get up every day and see how many things that we can connect to Krishna. Now let's try a little kirtan. And we'll start. Now, Kirtan is the most recommended of all spiritual practices. By whom? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I already mentioned how he comes to teach a practical method for elevating one's consciousness in the Kali Yuga. This is the Kali Yuga we're in now. And it has the characteristic of being frenetic and distracting, and one can overcome the distractions of this age by the process of Samkirtan. Sam means together, and Kirtan means to sing about Krishna. And the best way to do that, according to our teachers, our acharyas, is to sing the Hare Krishna mantra, the Hare Krishna Rama. So Hare, everyone say, means, oh my Lord, oh energy of the Lord. Krishna means the entire, Krish means the entirety of all existence. And Na means Ananda or bliss. And Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God from whom everything emanates and who's the source of all bliss. And Rama means the exquisite and ever-increasing pleasure one gets from chanting Hare Krishna and connecting everything to Krishna. Hare Krishna Rama. Or Hare Rama Hare Krishna. Are you Hare Rama Hare Krishna? Or Hare Krishna Hare Rama? If you keep saying it, it doesn't matter. So we'll just keep saying it, and then we won't have to answer the question. Okay. We'll start with a couple of prayers. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Namaste Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaur Premanande, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Shri Harinam Mantra ki, Shri Harinam Prabhu ki, Gaur Premanande, Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo.
You guys are amazing. Fantastic. From here, I get to hear all of you, and the force of it is significant. I can really feel it in my solar plexus. I think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was talking about this process of Sankirtan chanting together, was seeing how when villages come together, groups from anywhere, and they chant together, that everyone gets carried away by the process. It's a kind of forced meditation. You're pulled into the sound vibration, and it's not that you want to go anywhere else or be anywhere else. Thank you to the 81 people online right now. Let's please say Hare Krishna. Okay, now I would like everyone to take a couple minutes to share with somebody here a realization that you've had. You're all humans, right? Yes. Raise your hand if you're not. You can still participate. Krishna consciousness is for everyone. And even animals. Animals can participate in Krishna consciousness. We welcome all the animals who may be listening online. If behind somebody, you can come in. And if you're human, then it's very likely that you have registered some experience in your heart or mind from the way you're living your life. And as Socrates once said, the unexamined life is not worth living. Yeah. And one of the ways to examine one's life is to share a realization with somebody else. So what's a realization? Means you're practicing Krishna consciousness or you're not, and you have some realization about how the world works, or maybe you have a conundrum you're working on and we're working on, and then you had some breakthrough, or you had a breakthrough and then the breakthrough faded, and then you're in another level. You see where I'm going with this? We all have our life experience. So what I'd like you to do, if you would be up for it, are you up for this? Is to meet somebody, and the caveat is to meet somebody that you don't know. Is that possible? Yeah, the combinations and permutations are endless, and hopefully there's some left over that are people that you haven't met yet. So try to find somebody that you don't know, and then introduce yourself, and then share a realization about your life, and make it succinct. And so we'll come back here at when the big hand is on the 8. That means 20 till. Okay, you ready? Okay, meet and greet. You can stand up. You can move about the temple room, or move about, go next door to the apartment buildings, whoever you want to talk to. Feel free. Good to stand up, stretch a little bit, meet somebody, make a friend, somebody you haven't met before, share a realization. If you can hear me, raise your hand. If you can hear me, say shh. And now, sit up a little straighter than you were a second ago. And move forward by 7.2 inches. Please. There's more guests coming in. And now, and wait till you get settled a little bit. Just try to get settled and sit up a little straighter than you were a second ago. And close your eyes. Close your eyes. And now we're going to chant the Ma mantra together, but not in Kirtan with instruments, just Acappella with our voices. And we're going to do it really slow. And we'll listen to the syllables as we chant. And we'll use our breath to calibrate the mantra, or the mantra to calibrate the breath. And if you like, you just follow me. So take a few natural breaths. And then I'll say Hare Krishna on one exhalation. And then there'll be an inhalation. And then I'll say Hare Krishna again. Then Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. I'll go through the mantra in segments like that. And you can chant along with me. Hare Krishna, Hare Just sit for 10 seconds and feel the vibration. And now open your eyes. And let's share a few of the realizations that you heard. And we have microphones for everybody. Right? Are they ready to go? Who would like to share what you heard from someone, their realization? Okay, we have no more mics. They were sold to buy chapatis.
Krishna, Guru Maharaj, thank you for the session. I spoke with Shravan Prabhu, and he shared about how when we chant our rounds early in the morning or in one sitting, and that the effect is much stronger. We can experience it throughout the day. And on the other side, when we do it throughout the day, the efficacy is not as much. So, and I shared a similar realization when we plan our life to go to bed early in the evening, so we can rise early and do very good quality rounds. And I am striving for that. I know we have the potential to do it, but somehow the life goes on, and I need to continuously strive for it.
So 2 very practical tips. One is intensify your practice by containing it in one session when you can. This is called Tivrena Bhakti. When the light comes from the sun and you take a magnifying glass and you channel it through the concave surface, it hits in one point and it becomes so hot that it can start a fire. In a similar way, when you do Tivrena Bhakti, highly concentrated Bhakti, then the effect is much more. And the second was that if you can discipline yourself to not fall into ignorance at night and just while away your time, and you can discipline yourself to go to bed earlier or ish, then you can get up and take advantage of the earlier parts of the day, which is very helpful in spiritual life. Let's take two more. Who offered you some realizations? Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I met Yugal. Her name is Yugal. And she's been coming to the temple for the last few months. And she feels extremely spiritualized when she comes to the temple. And especially, she says that when she hears you talking in the class, she feels like it is Krishna's energy coming through you. So she's very inspired by that. And she's, after coming in the association of devotees, she's reading regularly. She hears to the Bhagavatam classes regularly in Hindi also. And one profound thing that I found what she said was, now she feels like neither she is there back in her material things that she does, neither she's fully here. So she feels like a conundrum that I'm neither here nor there. So I can relate, but I was wondering if you can offer some words of wisdom for her.
This is the largest area of the population, being neither here nor there. There's a couple of statements that will help us to think about the stages of Krishna consciousness and where we are, and also feel a kinship with others who are going through similar things. One statement in the Srimad Bhagavatam is, there's only two people who are truly well-adjusted and happy in this world. One is the complete fool, and the other is the highly realized person who has spent a lifetime coming to that point. Everybody else in the middle feels near here, there, and is touching both worlds, and also with that, a little bit of the shock of not being in either world fully. And Krishna talks about the interim stages of devotional service, very specifically in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. For those of you who are keeping score at home, he gives a verse, Jata Shradama Katasu Nirvina Sarvakarmasu Veda Dukat Makankamams Prityagepya Nishvara Tato Bhajetamam Prita Shradalo Dridhanishchaya Jushamanam Shtatam Kamams Duko Darkams Chagarayan. This describes someone in the interim period. He says the person has developed a determination in his or her heart that I want to do devotional service, I'm going to do devotional service. At the same time, the person has a conviction that all kinds of sense gratification, non-Krishna conscious activities leads to misery. Prityagepya Nishvara means that, but still the person doesn't have the power, hasn't developed the power enough to control his or her senses to be able to do what he or she wants. Ishvara means the supreme controller, and also means the ability to do something. And then Krishna gives the advice. You should be simple, optimistic, and encouraged, because if you go on with devotional service, even in an imperfect way, you'll come to the perfect stage in due course of time. And we could have compassion for others who are going through it, and compassion for ourselves when we're going through the struggle called anarta nivritti, which means that we've come into devotional service and realized how optimistic it is, that we've been in the material world for millennia, for many different creations, that's trillions of years, in different disadvantaged circumstances. And now we've come to the opportunity in the human form of life to rise beyond it. Not only that, we've come to a genuine process through which we can do that. So if we remember that, how fortunate we are, and that even though we may be inept in various ways, that the Shastra, the scriptures, gives various kinds of encouragements. For instance, regarding chanting, the Padma Purana says, Nama parada yuktanam naman yeva harantyagam avishrani prayuktani tam yevartakarani cha. that even if you're the worst chanter in the world and you're making mistakes, keep chanting. Don't stop. Because the process itself is very powerful, and even if we're doing it imperfectly, if we maintain even a molecule of sincerity and we continue doing it no matter what, even though we feel embarrassed that we're so bad at it, then we'll come to the perfect stage. And oftentimes when people who are famous, who have come a long way, get up to give a motivational speech, they'll come out with one statement that rouses the whole crowd. And it's 2 words. What do you think they are? Keep going. Keep going. Don't stop. Because you're in the right place, right time, and if you keep going, you'll for sure get success. In fact, Prabhupada says in one of his teachings that if you start devotional service very optimistically and then you feel waylaid or bogged down, and if you say, I quit, he said Krishna will forcibly drag you anyway. So you could do this the easy way or the hard way. Easy way is just say, it's the right thing to do. I might as well suffer through it and come to the Paramahamsa stage and come out of this fear and the on again, off again, and just try to go through the process and it'll be successful. What else are you going to do? There's nothing else going on in the material world. Wise sages have analyzed the entire material world from top to bottom. We can just take Krishna's word for it. He categorically says that the material world's a lost cause for material enjoyment. You're not going to find it. Isn't that helpful? You can just cross it off your list. So when you go home, cross it off your list and then say, I'll start a new life. I'll keep going in my devotional service, even though I'm in the interim period. There's more to say, but that's at least something. We'll take the last one. One more? Yes.
I heard something very nice from Snehal, and I think it will be nice to just hear from her. Can you just say that Marathi words that you say?
Maharaji, today when you were talking about how we can make a list of the things we do and connect everything to Krishna, over the past few months, I've been doing a similar practice where before going to sleep, I just say a small prayer to Krishna and then I go off to sleep. I say it in Marathi. That's my mother tongue. It goes like, मी जे काही कर्म केले माझ्या शरीराने वाणीने अहमने चित्ताने मनाने बुद्धीने मी सगळे कर्म फल तुमच्या चरणांमध्ये समर्पित करते. What it means is...
Say one more time, we'll try to guess. Go ahead, say what it means.
Everything I do with my body, my speech, my mind, heart, intellect, consciousness, all the activities and the results of all the activities, I submit at your lotus feet.
Hand everything in at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And if you forgot to make the little lines, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I'm handing it all in.
Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you. That's beautiful. Okay. Anything else, Pavani? Okay. So tonight we've talked about some practical steps that one can take in one's life based on Krishna's teaching in the Bhagavad Gita. And we've had a chance to meet one another. We had a rousing chanting session because of your enthusiasm and synchronicity. And now we're coming to the best part of our program, which is the Hare Krishna Dance Festival. I personally feel that people in the world need to dance more. There's not enough dancing in the world. And I'm not talking about ballroom dancing and so forth, although that's interesting too, Saturday Night Fever and all that. But the main thing is you should dance spiritually for Krishna. That's another very important activity to connect to Krishna. And dancing expresses something very powerful because oftentimes words fail us and we think, how could I say enough, offer enough appreciation for for how I feel, for what Krishna does for me, for how he sustains my life. And there's a simple way through dance that you can express that. You know, like when you open your arms kind of wide like this, try it. Don't hit anybody. I mean, just seeing that, it's at once kind of heart-opening, isn't it? And it also expresses a sense of giving oneself. There's also, you could even say it was a kind of a surrender. You know, people say, put your hands up, but you don't want to wait for that part. You just preemptively kind of like, okay, I give up. I'm going to end this high-speed chase of my life. Death is chasing me. The interest rates are chasing me. Everybody's chasing me. Whatever it is, it's chasing me. It's like, Krishna, I'm giving it up to you. You're the only one who can help me now. This is a simple dance thing where you can raise your hands in the sky. If you do it a little gracefully, you know, you can open your hands too. And you'll feel really good. And it's okay to do. It's okay to do that when you feel like it in the dance. And you can also move your feet. You can see some move their feet. They sway back and forth. And others, when the music becomes more pronounced, the Kirtan, here and elsewhere where we go out to chant, devotees sometimes lift off the ground. And so feel free to do that. And we're going to get the room ready for you, just so you can do that. We're going to take all the seats, the asanas, we're going to put them in the back neatly, and we're going to roll up this carpet and reveal to you the reason that we bought this property a few years ago. It's this dance floor. I like a wood dance floor. It's much more forgiving than a marble surface. Marble surfaces are very cold and they're very hard. But you should, if any of your friends ever ask why you go to the ISKCON of Silicon Valley, you can tell them they have a wood dance floor. And good luck finding one this nice anywhere. This is very rare wood that was used here by the previous church that owned this building. So let's try that. And we'll end with a prayer. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Gauranitai, Shri Shri Radha Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmana Shringadev. If you so desire, please empower us to connect everything we do in our lives in service to Krishna. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll see you on the dance floor. Hare Krishna. What's the tune? Only thing is, I don't have all the second part, double parts for Meg Rock. I always end up double at the lower parts. We'll take a little help. We'll do make rock again because it's kind of nice for the autumn. Put up another mic over here. I may need some help. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. It's all you. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshikaya. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Rama Rama Hare Hare. Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pariraja Vichajashtu Tarista Shishimad Pai Charanada Bhaktavedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pariraja Vichajashtu Tarista Shishimad Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. It's okay to stand, it's okay to stand. Prams Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sri Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Samveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the Son of devotees. All glories to the Son of devotees. All glories to the Son of devotees. Go pray.
Hare Krishna. Namaste Narashingaya. Namaste Narashingaya.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome to ISKCON of Silicon Valley. It is officially December, and we're so glad that you've been present with us this entire year as we close out 2023. We have a couple of short announcements before Prashadam, if you'll stay behind maybe for 2 or 3 minutes. We wanted to welcome everybody here and thank Vaisesika Prabhu for his wonderful class today, as well as the Gaur Aarti. We also want to thank Geeta Priya for the very melodious and heartfelt Nrsimhadev prayers. The devotees you see here are one part of our audience. We also have a very wide online audience of devotees watching on various channels like Facebook, YouTube, and the Zoom call, which they join live. And we have a very consistent and strong team of devotees who manage infinite amounts of technology to make that happen. So we want to thank the broadcast team and the online audience for being a part of the program. We have one sponsor for today, and dear Prashant Prabhu is sponsoring on the occasion of his parents' 50th wedding anniversary. Dear Prashant Prabhu, are you here? Please come. So I have a new assistant here as well, so we should welcome him.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I'll try to keep this short. So my parents arrived here a few weeks ago, and my father's health was not good. So finally, he got his health fixed, and he came. So yesterday it was their 50th wedding anniversary. So I wanted everybody to bless them and have their association when they are here, and I hope they go back healthy as well. Thank you.
Mahaprashadam. Thank you, Prabhu. Couple announcements about our upcoming programs. We have the next batch of Bhakti Shastri beginning. So for those who might not be aware, Bhakti Shastri is a program wherein we study systematically 4 books, the Ishopanishad, and the Nectar of Instruction, and the Bhagavad Gita, and one part of the Nectar of Devotion. And we have our astute teacher here, whom we're so fortunate to have, Shivas Pandit Prabhu. And he holds regular classes where you will study each verse, each page of these books, and have a community of devotees to discuss along with. Because of the way in which it's taught, there's no pre-qualifications that are required, so please don't feel hindered to sign up and be a part of the program. The group will take you along, and you'll learn so much about these shastras, which Prabhupada has painstakingly brought forward for us. So if you are interested, please reach out to me or Sri Gopal Prabhu, or actually the right person is Shamalangi Mataji, and she will be able to sign you up and get you started and answer any questions you might have. So please give it a thought, and if you'd like to sign up, please reach out to her. The next announcement we have is His Grace Radhika Raman Prabhu, who is very, very renowned for his lectures and for the way he's come up in Krishna consciousness and is sharing the knowledge. He's going to be here next week giving a seminar, which you don't want to miss. It's going to be happening on Saturday and Sunday, and the timings and the topic will be sent in an email. So please look out for that, and please clear your calendar so you can be available for Prabhu's class. Awesome. So now we have the cooks that will be recited by Aditi.
Hare Krishna. Today's lead cook is Nilachal Chandra Mataji. The supporting cooks are Mansi Mataji, Daivi Kumari Mataji, Mrinalini Mataji, Abhijit Prabhuji, Tadya Seva Prabhu, Hari Sankirtan Prabhu, Sudevi Mataji, Neha Mataji, Divya Drishti Mataji, Surabhi, Dira Prashanta Prabhu, Dhan Lakshmi Mataji, Sukada Mataji, Arshia, Nitai Kirtan Prabhu, Krishna Priya, Balaram, Gaurika, and Kashvi.
The list of cooks is encouraging me to take prasadam. They must have put so much love into it. So after we conclude here, please step outside, and as usual, there will be 2 lines, so you can grab your plate, and you're also welcome to sit inside for prasadam. And we have another program starting at 7 o'clock. So we request that everybody participate in helping the cleaning efforts so we can be ready for that program.
What's next?
Prashadam prayers.
What are the Prashadam prayers?
So the Prashadam prayers, we describe the glories of honoring Prashadam. It's a very important practice of taking the remnants of food that is offered to the Lord. And these prayers that are written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they describe how the process of eating Prashadam and the glories of Prashadam and how they benefit our spiritual life.
Thank you. Shariradvijaja Yogendriya Kahika Jivetele Vishaya Sabhave Sammati Jivanati Yogamutu Janati Kaki Jita Sakita Samsare Krishna Varudoya Tori Bari Vijaya Shapusha Annati Loba Shayana Visapao Radha Krishna Gunasao Premenato Chaitanya-nisa Premenato Chaitanya-nisa Matakare Govinde Maharati Vaishnave Sopapunya Mahamradam Visaso Navijayate Prasari Sarvati Sada Agiraso Vijayate Prasana Keta Sanyasi Udipaya Vijayate Prasaya Prabhuta Sankanda Vasarakar Shakitaha Krishna Bodhina Dasa Paramayandrayi Mati Bhagavat Shri Mahaprashadiki Gaur Premanande Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Please come take Prashadam. Prashadam be served in the